Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So there's a lot of TV news happening this week. The big networks are having their upfronts where they present all their new shows for the next season to advertisers. The bad news is that Marvel had an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spinoff that they decided not to pick up. ABC decided not to pick it up. So I wanted to do my top 5 alternatives for shows that I think they should develop. There's some interesting challenges that ABC has that some of the other networks don't have. ABC's growth as a network has been fueled by a strong female demographic, but they want to tap into that males age 18 to 34 demographic, so they want to develop shows that group will like, but will not alienate the audience that they already have. You always hear a lot of talk about men and women wanting different things. I think that's complete bullshit. I think as long as any story has, great comedy, sex, violence, action, drama, everyone will enjoy it. So this will be a mixture of female and male-led shows, just starting with number 5, Ms. Marvel. This one's a little harder to do, so that's why I put her lower on the list. She's a great character, and I'm talking about the Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel. If you haven't been reading her comic book, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Forget about her race, her gender, her religious beliefs. She's just a really interesting character. They're slowly starting to build out her universe in the comics. One of the biggest reasons I think she's a really good option is because she's an Inhuman. That's where she gets her powers from. Marvel is doubling down on Inhumans. They're going to be a really big deal on TV and in the movies. It only makes sense that at a certain point, they would try to do a more powers-based show. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now is a little bit more superhero CSI with the procedural elements tuned down a little bit. I don't think that we need another procedural show. The problem that you run into, though, with characters like Ms. Marvel is what is their journey? What's their hero arc? They get powers, they figure them out, what do they do each week? The human drama aspect of the character is way easier to do. She's a teenage girl, so she faces typical teenage problems, but she's also a Muslim, so there's a lot of awkward comedy built in the fact that she's an American teenager trying to deal with traditional Muslim values, as well as all the normal gender politics and school drama that you would see in a teenage series. I think one of the downsides in selling a Ms. Marvel TV show to a really broad audience is that it would have to tune the sex elements down a little bit. That's not really part of the Ms. Marvel character. She's not about sex. I mean, she's a teenager, so she's just trying to figure stuff out. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of had that problem. There wasn't a lot of sex on the show. They slowly changed that in season 2. You have the Bobby and Hunter character. May had that weird relationship with Ward. It's just you can't have a primetime network TV show where nobody has any sex. Teenagers have sex all the time. It'd be disingenuous if you had a teenage series and nobody was having any sex. On to number 4, another really strong female character, Spider-Woman. This is another one of those tricky issues. Spider-Man was just brought back into the Marvel Universe. Marvel has always had the rights to Spider-Woman. That's a completely separate character. That's never been a problem for them. But because of their relationship with Sony, they would probably have to market it in a really interesting way, just to try to avoid stepping on toes. Spider-Woman is just one of those really interesting characters in the comics that they haven't done a lot with in film or TV. She has appeared in animated form, but we're talking about primetime TV. If CBS can find a way to do superpowers with Supergirl in a relatively affordable way, then Marvel can totally find a way to do Spider-Woman's powers. She also works really well with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. angle. She's been a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the past. Realistically, I think there will be Spider-Verse people in the live-action TV series at some point, but I think it might not come till well after we see MCU Spider-Man in his full glory in film. Spider-Man, just in terms of pop culture, just holds up all the other Spider-Verse characters. You have Spider-Gwen in the comics, that's really interesting, but I feel like if they're going to do a Spider character on screen, they would go with Spider-Woman first, if they're not going to do Spider-Man. Spider-Gwen just starts, splintering the mythos, and if you haven't been reading the comics or keeping up, it's really hard to follow. And the downside to network TV is that they have to be easy enough to follow for people that have never picked up a comic book in their life. So upside, really strong character with a lot of potential for integration with the other Marvel TV series. Downside, they're probably going to wait till after the new Spider-Man franchise launches to even think about doing a Spider character on TV. Fingers crossed for Daredevil Netflix crossover though. On to number 3, Avengers Academy. This is really just like doing an X-Men live-action TV series, just, replacing it with Avengers characters. Its biggest strength is also its biggest weakness though, Avengers brand recognition. People will tune in expecting to see Avengers, and when Chris Hemsworth or Captain America doesn't show up every week, people are going to be pissed. I kind of explained the deal with the TV actors' contracts and the film actors' contracts in one of my videos last week, but basically, film actors do not go on TV. Not because they don't want to, but because they don't get paid enough. As much as that sucks, it's just one of the realities of film and TV. Cobie Smulders is someone who's an exception to that, because she's really more of a TV actress that's breaking into film. Nick Fury too, but Sam Jackson, he'll appear in anything, so he doesn't count. It just feels like it would be too much fun to see them, mining characters with film potential. Most TV series are designed to stand on their own. Like DC keeps their film and TV universes separate. Like the TV actors probably never going to appear in the films. Marvel is all about integration. So at a certain point, you think that they would try to do the Disney thing where they mine talent in the TV universe and then slowly integrate them into the films. TV is just a really easy way to mine talent because you can only make a certain number of films a year, but there's way more room in TV. On to number 2, another ensemble cast option, Marvel Runaways. This is leaning more towards what's going on in the show right now. You have a bunch of new Inhuman characters, some of them good, some of them not so good. A show like Runaways could be like an Inhumans Breaking Bad situation with younger characters. So you combine all the things that are fun about the Inhumans, the superpowers, them getting into awkward situations based on their powers, and you get the human drama of S.H.I.E.L.D., just like the interpersonal relationships, them trying to figure out where they belong, them being stuck between S.H.I.E.L.D. and between the Inhumans. That's why when they announced the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spinoff was going to be about Mockingbird and Hunter, I was a little bummed. I felt they were going to roll harder on the Inhumans. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they passed on it. They just didn't want another Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. clone. Another really good thing about Runaways is Joss Whedon had a really awesome run on it, and he is great with young characters on TV. He had a big hand in developing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., his name is on it, but really it's his brother and his wife that run that show. Joss Whedon isn't really involved with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore. Dollars to donuts though, Joss Whedon's going to spend most of his time developing indie films on his own, even though everyone wants him to do Star Wars or a new X-Men film. And finally, my number 1 choice for a new Marvel ABC primetime show, Captain America Winter Soldier. This would be a show based on Bucky's character, starring Sebastian Stan, like a limited run. He's an actor that's done both film and TV, and he's not one of those Robert Downey Jr. level film actors that's like so busy with film that he isn't overpriced and he has the room in his schedule to do a limited run. A good analog for him is Dominic Cooper. He was able to do a whole bunch of indie films last year and do Agent Carter, and he's now going to be starring in the Preacher TV series. So if Dominic Cooper can do his own limited TV series, Sebastian Stan can probably do one too. There's a lot of people that think that he might get up-jumped to Captain America status, like he might take the mantle during Captain America's Civil War, so that might put the damper on any kind of Winter Soldier TV action. Marvel is also really protective of its film properties that are really strong franchises. Like if it feels like a film franchise makes enough money, there's no reason to make a TV series, especially if they have a lot of other TV series on air already. It's just that Winter Soldier fits the profile of the type of show that everyone would get excited about and wouldn't be overly expensive just because he doesn't have like a lot of energy-based superpowers. He's not like Superman, he doesn't fly around all the time. Mechanical arms, super strength, very easy to do. Even if he takes the mantle from Steve Rogers, there's no way they're going to have time to do a film just for him where they explore his backstory. Even in the movie Captain America Winter Soldier, they didn't go too crazy into his backstory. He has this whole history since World War II of being an assassin, them freezing him, unthawing him, having him assassinate people. It's just that it would work really well with the Arrow model, where you flash back into the past, where you see him on his missions assassinating people, and then you see him in present day with the character moving forward. You also don't have to use a lot of the film Avengers characters, because it's not like they hang out every day. So here's my big question for you guys. What TV series do you want to see ABC and Marvel do next that you think they have a realistic shot of doing? Meaning it doesn't star a film actor that's too busy to do a limited run TV series, and it doesn't require constant, expensive CG. The interesting thing about that though is that Agent Carter, actually one of the reasons why they only did 8 episodes is because it required so much CG to put in the period stuff. They shot the show in LA, but they had to use a lot of CG to make it look like the 1940s. The good thing about Marvel Studios, as a film and TV studio, is that Disney, which owns them, also owns ILM, one of the best effects houses in the industry. So they can sell those services within the company at a cheaper rate than they could if they hired someone outside of the company. In case I forgot to mention it, X-Men live action TV series, it's in development, but it's not officially in the works yet because Marvel owns the TV rights to X-Men. It's kind of complicated, so you might get like a Sony Spider-Man situation where there's some sort of sharing. I mean, Fox, for instance, 20th Century Fox doing a Gotham TV show based on DC characters. If they can do that, then Fox and Marvel can probably find a way to do an X-Men live action TV series on Fox. Normally Monday nights are my Gotham videos, but because that's on break, I have extra room in my schedule, so I'm going to be doing more Marvel and DC movie videos. If there's anything specific you guys want me to do every week, just leave me suggestions in the comments. I'm probably going to do a Deadpool video again soon too. My next video tonight will be the Game of Thrones Q&A. I'm giving away a couple books, so be sure to check that video out. Don't forget, there is an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale this week. It is 2 hours long. You can click here to catch up on that show right now if you guys haven't been watching. And you can click here to catch up on The Flash before tomorrow night too. It's like the next to last episode. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.